grew up in when I was there, it was an all white town, and I showed up at some point wearing track sweatsuits like Run DMC. So I think maybe there was a little
Yeah,
racism. They just didn't have a
definitely.
direction to point it. So I show up with a home perm and a matching sweatsuit and some, you know,
They,
some bling bling.
they just weren't ready for the Andy Andrist sound, man.
Yeah.
Evening, gentlemen.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh.
Very special edition.
Yeah,
What is that? What happened there, Erickson?
that was a first sip of a nighttime Bloody Mary. That's what that was.
It's
Fresh
special.
coming out of a nap too.
It's special for me because I started drinking about 3 hours ago to stream, so I had to switch my schedule around. So
But this
if I
would
come
be
in
nice.
a little hot, I apologize.
Yeah,
You're
we've never
streaming
had.
right now? You're streaming during the day?
Well, I usually do the podcasts in the morning and then stream through the afternoon.
Yeah.
But today I had to do the stream
Yeah.
early so that I could podcast tonight. So yeah, I've been streaming for the last 3 hours.
So we
Well,
get
I
streaming Chad
I
on the
appreciate
podcast.
it.
Yeah, I kept
I
reaching for
appreciate it,
beers
Gary.
all day and going, wait, no, I'm
Wait.
not doing that right now. I'm not doing that. Yeah, it's more natural to drink at this hour for,
Yeah.
for the quarantine and all.
And you
Because-
could have gotten, we got 60 pages read today, 8 chapters. So
Nice.
it feels like something got done, you know?
Good.
Shaylee, I didn't even think about it. I saw the picture that Tracy posted. I didn't even think about it. But I guess with like COVID and stuff, they're not even. You're the producer, and you're doing the whole thing, huh?
No, we got it set up. We got it set up where the producer is actually in New York, and Amazon, which owns Audible, they actually have a product like Skype. Does anyone know what it's called? Of course not.
Grins,
no.
giggles, smiles, and
Yeah,
laughs.
it's called it's called Chime. So it's there, and they have to use that, which I just set it up, and it works just like Skype, really. But I set it up so that she has a video, she can see what's going on here, and she can hear, but she mutes her end so that she's hearing the exact thing that I'm recording. And then I just upload all those files at the end of the day. And it went good. And we have AC.
Good.
We can run the air conditioning the whole time. And then Doug put that big, huge fan. Oh, I got to turn it off. He's got that big, huge fan that the one that they put in your house when it's flooded. Yeah, you see it right there?
Oh, yeah.
He puts that in. So in 5 minutes, the whole room is completely cleared out of smoke because he's smoking like crazy. So, anyway, it'll be good.
It's like a COVID fan. That'll blow the Rona
It
right out
is.
of the room. That's
Yeah,
nice.
we'll see.
Blow
You
with the
fucking
Phoenix.
superstars, you get extra nice equipment, man.
Hey,
We'll put it on the fun house on the roof and point it towards Phoenix. Just
You're
blow
keeping
it up, everything that way.
you're keeping Mishka off the campus, aren't you?
But he came by a couple days ago, and then I dropped the car off at Firestone. It's about 3/4 of a mile from the house. So I just walked back. And as I'm walking back with my I'm walking with a mask on in Bisbee, and Mishka comes like jogging by with his little chippy, and they're running at 2 p.m. in Arizona.
Good.
They're going for a jog, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going this way. You're going that way. You keep going. Whatever you want to do. But I could running in that heat and the humidity right now too is crazy. So that's all I've seen of him.
Yeah, where's he's living there, or he's staying in Bisbee for a bit? Is that right?
I wouldn't know.
Don't
To me, he
he-
looked homeless and
Yeah.
didn't own a shirt or long pants.
I
Yeah, that's him.
I think
he was.
Joby said he
the
was
guy.
staying with him and he was looking for a place there.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
So Joby
He's going to
told me.
be
Good luck.
actually, he's going to be in for a bit of a surprise when it comes to news about his friend Doug Stanhope. I saw that Mishka on Twitter a week or two ago had canceled Joey Diaz.
I'm a
shit.
streaker. I'm a streaker. It touched my leg. Ugh.
Yeah. It looked
Turn
like
that
a
fan
fucking...
on. Turn that fan on full blast.
See what happens when I turn it off?
Was that coronavirus blowing around in there?
It might have
Did we just see the virus?
I thought it looked more like Coolio, but I think that definitely was it. It mutates, you know. It does
It looked
mutate.
like
Juggalo that lost his makeup.
I thought it was an extra from the new Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
Mad Max, Alcoholic Road.
I always try to spot which one in that movie is Sean Rouse. And I know he's not in it, but you know, he could have been any one of them blood boys. He would have been like, take it easy, guys.
It was the slow moving one.
He'll come back around. I'm gonna do a bump. He'll come back to us. This is I'm in my my.
So that's my day. That's my day. What did you guys do? What did you guys do instead of podcasting? I know, Chad, you did your Twitch stream.
Yeah. I took a nap. I took a nap sober instead of a post-podcast drunk nap.
I yelled
Go ahead, Ed.
I yelled at my neighbor because my fucking fat dog finds garbage food that these assholes throw over their deck. So I find my fat pig and I'm mad at her, and it's because these fucking assholes throw food over their deck. So then instead
of throwing it in the trash can, they throw it over the railing.
Yeah, it was burnt, and they chucked it over the rail where my fat pig, who's already, I was told by a vet that she was obese, and it was like, it's not the kind of news you want to hear. Like, she's basically saying it's my fault,
Yeah.
And it's not.
Oh, not for the health of the animal, but because they've got fucking suspicious eyes looking at you.
Yeah,
You're a feeder.
Makes Andy look
she's
bad.
like, she's like the last time I went, it was like she was almost my daughter's age, and she's shaming me. She's basically body shaming my dog in front of her, and then putting it on me, like, And like, I don't know. She eats cat food, and well, do you weigh her food? Fuck no. I'll weigh her. I weigh it when I bag. It's 60 pounds when I grab it.
It's 0 when I need to get more.
Yeah, and I don't overfeed the fucker, but she goes over and eats shit. So like, it was like 6:30 this morning, and I threw a piece of pizza. I winged it up there and hit the glass door. It's like 3 or 4 fucking places though. So it's like, it was hard.
Now you're throwing food on their deck because they throw food down from their deck.
Your pizza or their pizza?
It was their pizza, so I'm returning it. I have garbage cans that happen to be below their deck, but it's in no means an open invitation.
So they're not even trying to hit those garbage cans. They're just chucking garbage onto your property.
I thought maybe they're making it a game.
Yeah, so and then I threw a dirt clod, and that there was a guy sitting out there, reading his phone or whatever, and he goes, "Hey man, He goes, "What are you throwing at the place?" And I go, "A dirt clod." And I threw pizza a minute ago, and if you fucking assholes keep throwing food down here, I'm gonna have to throw everything up there that I find down here. And he's like, "Hey, I'm only here 3 days a week." And then I was like, is Mario still own this place? And he goes, "Yeah, that's our landlord." And I go, okay. That's useful information, because there's a guy suing Mario that lives down below here. And I think Mario put the place in a friend's name so that he wouldn't have property. So I think I might have gotten the whole fucking lot of them tossed out of there like burnt pizza. I'm going to take that information to that guy and go, "Hey, I think you can still sue him. He owns that property, and put it in this other guy's name to hide it, I think, from you." Anyway, just passing by, minding my own business.
Rabble rousing.
Yeah, I don't. It's like, I mean, if the dog dies because it's eating their fucking food, then where are we? Then it's an act of terrorism, and I'm going possibly facing criminal charges. So I'm just trying to preempt that, like Minority Report. I know these fuckers are there's gonna be problems down the road, and I just want to, I want to point it in different directions.
Well, that's fucked anyway, man.
Yeah.
Dumping garbage onto somebody else's property is. There's not even an.
No.
There's not
Full
even an
stop.
angle.
Erickson, dumping garbage. Stop right there.
Well,
I mean,
Go
you
to the
can
dump.
it, but you can dump it on your own
Yeah.
fucking yard if you want.
There's
no
like
one does that.
There's a water. There's a bank, and then there's like a water runoff area. It's it's dry and grassy right now. But one time, a few years ago, when Mario was still in charge of the place, there was a bunch of furniture down there. Like 4 pieces of furniture all fucking broken and rolled down the hill, like something I would have done in college. I'm like, what the fuck, man? And so I didn't know who that guy was, but then I sorted through their mail and got got some names and stuff. And then I wrote him a letter on his Facebook, on his real estate page, basically, saying I'm cool with white drugs and we all get a little crazy, but the next day when you've got a fucking love seat laying in somebody's ditch, it's time to clean it up. And I thought it was kind of a funny letter. And then he shows up at my place a week later, like within a week, he's at my doorstep. And that is not why I wrote the sarcastic letter. And I'd already opened the door. So it was like, there he was. And he's all fucking agitated because he does like the meth. And nothing against that drug. It just doesn't have a great track record with people that are already assholes.
Right.
And he's an asshole, and people yell at him all the time, and he's a fucking asshole. And he shows up, and I'm like, okay, here we go. This is my fucking angel of mercy. Finally, where have you been? You're going to shoot me in the face. And I just stood there waiting for him to make his move. And then he told me how he took pride in this place. It's like, it's the fucking shittiest dump apartment, 3-plex, 4, whatever the fuck they call it. And he's like shaky. And he told me how he moved to this country, and he was so he's an immigrant. And he's proud of this property that's a fucking lean-to, with a bunch of losers in it. And then I'm like, okay, great. He's going to give me a dinner and a fucking bullet, here we go. Or a show and just shoot me in the face before you go into your monologue, please. And so I sat there waiting for a chance to say something, but he didn't really give me a chance to say anything. He just a long spiel. And then he goes, you smoke weed? And I go, yeah. And then it's like, okay, he's going to shoot me now. And then he left, and then he came back again. It's like, okay, so here we go. He's got his gun. He forgot it. It's like, I did that today. I was so mad. I got groceries and they rang him up.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I did that with groceries, and I was like, fuck, she cocksucker under my mask, and she's like, is everything okay? I forgot my fucking wallet. I've really loosened up the language with the mask on, and she goes, oh, that's okay, you can go grab it. And then of course I can go grab it. Whether I come back is another story. And I did not want to run the focaccia drill again, like I got to find focaccia, it's not easy to find. Where's your focaccia section? It should be with your bread, right? No, not. So I went back, but yeah, so he came back a second time, and then he just stood there, and I was like, I think he was like, he was thinking about, and he goes, here, I got some Blue Dream for you. But there was a long enough pause where I was like, just fucking, it's like, am I going to have to load your pistol?
Is that the name of the bullets?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was some weed, and it was pretty good. He gave me a handful of weed, and I was like, thanks, man. And I was like, yeah, it's just, it's not what I wanted.
He bribed you with weed to overlook the garbage in the ditch?
I think he was just coming down off of a few days of being high, and he I think he probably thought about killing me when he got that thing on his proud page. He was like a real estate manager at the time.
He came over to kill you and instead just gave you weed instead. You truly have the weirdest fucking life ever.
I really didn't even do a whole lot. I
It.
really didn't have anything to say either way,
No, you were bracing for the gunshot. Every chance that guy had to shoot you, you were ready for it.
Yeah. It was an awkward thank you either way.
Yeah, and then people would have said, "Oh, he didn't see it coming." Go, yeah, I did. I saw it coming the first time, and then I waited for 25 minutes for it. I saw it
Opened the
coming.
door a second time because he asked me if I smoked weed, and I thought he might be gonna give me some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great if like you didn't answer the door the second time, and you're like, "There's some guy out front." It's like, oh, that's for me. Hang on,
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
right there.
I didn't even pick up the bat. That's how passive aggressive I was. You know, I don't want to. I want you guys. I want you to aim true, Mario. I don't want to fucking shake you up with this aluminum bat. You know.
Yeah, he's probably jittery enough after a 3 or 4 day meth binge.
Yeah, it's like it's a
Tell him
bummer.
to breathe. Just breathe.
I could have.
Yeah, you don't want a Gabby Gifford situation where they
don't you want to
revive you.
Don't you want to pull the trigger on your exhale or something like that, Chad? I don't know how.
That's it.
Yeah.
Use the pad of your finger and pull the trigger on an exhale.
If arson was as easy to get away as rape for a white man, I'd have already burnt the house down. They would have followed. They would have followed the fucking breadcrumbs right to my place. I was eating a peanut butter cookie when I couldn't find the lighter fluids. I had to go back, and then that's when I picked up the peanut butter cookie.
I envy you, Andy. I'm not allowed to get in fights with any of my neighbors. That's the only rule I really have here. Jenny said, I can basically do anything I want. Right. But when we moved in, she says, you're not allowed to fight any neighbors. And I was like,
That's the correct rule. She has made a wise decision.
I had a neighbor when we first moved in. We had to do a lot of yard work and stuff. It's just an acre of just desert land out here, so we had to do a lot of yard work. And the neighbor next door one day tells me, "Man, I saw your wife out here raking in shorts the other day. Boy, you sure are." And I fucking saw red. I was gonna pick the guy up. I knew it. I saw it before. Usually anything that I do violent, I see it and then I do it automatically. And I saw myself pick this guy up over my head and slam him down into a mesquite tree, but in a way that he was like stuck in there. I wanted to wedge him down in there good, and then just stomp his fucking face over and over while he was stuck in this tree. And I had to stop myself from doing anything at all. Because,
when do you come when you fantasize like that? Before you stomp him
far.
Before he stomped completely lifeless, do you come or do you come after? And then you're like, hey.
It's definitely the memories after, I think, is where I would fire it up for sure. The heat of the moment. Nah.
I'm more of a follow them home and put it's like plot a strategy. It's like that was one of
burn their lawn with
yeah, hot revenge. Killer. Hot revenge is a sure way to get yourself in trouble. Cold revenge, you have a chance to develop a little bit of an alibi, scout cameras in the neighborhood, shit like that. You can go rushing right into,
even when I think that way, I'm too hot-headed, Andy. The last time I thought that way, it was because a dude, my son, forgot his ID to buy cigarettes, and oh my God, that's creepy.
Freaking me out, dude.
That's fucking creepy.
Now put my brother Larry up there and see if they're the same guy.
I'll pull that out.
That sort of looks like Larry's backdrop there a little bit.
There he is.
Oh my God. Hey, so you got man. Flea there. Flea.
Yeah, we got through the Daytona part of the book. That was lacking. Even at the bottom of that paragraph, the ending paragraph, it says, flesh out Andy and Rouse more. And on March 31st of this year, I texted and called Brett Erickson saying, hey, just give me a call. I need just like one good story about Andy to flesh out what Andy's like.
It's my fault.
Yep.
Oh,
Brett Erickson has not called me back almost 4 months later. And that's why Andy is underrepresented in the book, because they just needed one story, just one callback. I even explained to him. I didn't need a ride to LAX. I didn't need him to move a piano.
Do you know how hard it was for Brett not to call you back? How many times he ran to the phone and it's like, no, this is the one time I'm going to not call him back.
I'll show this son of a bitch.
Be strong.
I'm moving on, man.
We're making new Andy memories, all right?
Write your own book, man. I'm not calling.
We're booking our own tour post-COVID, you know?
That's why Brett Erickson hates James Inman so much, is they both can't get booked at the Comedy Store.
Oh.
Oh.
That hurt.
That's
I'm
what
gonna have to have it.
Just stopped in to punch Erickson in the stomach. I see.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to wait for him to call me back.
He said, well, I wasn't going to wait for Erickson to call me back to punch him.
You remember the
I don't
end
think any
of,
of it's true. I'm
you
sure.
remember the end of First
Actual-
Blood, where Rocky is all fucking. They should have ended First Blood where he dies, but he gives that spiel
You're talking
about
Rambo.
Yeah. Well, it's First Blood or the one he gives a spiel about his buddy. I don't even know if it's the end, and it might not have even been in that. And come to think of it, it's probably in one of the Rocky movies. But he gives that spiel. He gives that spiel about getting with his buddy, and they're gonna cruise till the tires fall off the car, and they're gonna go do crazy shit. That's what it feels like to make any kind of a suggestion of any life outside of COVID. It's like, I'll just cruise up the coast, and it won't run into any checkpoints, and then I'll just go to
We'll
have
set
a
up
beer at a
bunch of
state park.
issues with Andy shows. We'll just fucking tour all across the country, man. The four of us. It'll be fucking great, man. Fucking perfect. No, it won't happen.
Yeah,
Wait,
so-
are they doing checkpoints? Like not like border patrol checkpoints, but like COVID checkpoints at the borders?
I want what you want. I want.
Check your temperature.
Like to get into Portland or to get into
Oh,
Oregon?
I went to Portland. So there's a guy. I don't know. He's an artist in Portland. He's Antifa. He puts some. He sends postcards to people who get arrested, and he's got a little crossbow, and he goes by Gonzo.
He's unemployed. You forgot to say that.
Well, he's homeless, and then he mentioned he needed some bolts for his gun, and he's got some Nazis that are bothering him. So, and I had to go to Portland for a day trip to take someone up to an appointment, and so I got a hold of Antifa, and I said, I got some supplies I'll give you, and so I met
with
right
your
down there.
fingerprints on them.
Yeah, I went down there.
Andy's-
I went and I waited. It took the whole time, the wait for this guy. And then he was down at this place where it's like all the Black Lives Matter. It's kind of the headquarters of the Antifa movement. And I was like, fuck yeah, I can't wait to go to Coquille and tell him where I've been. So I went armed Antifa with a tent, you fucking faggots. They're coming to Coquille and they're going to set up that tent and ruin everything. They're gonna get people jobs. They're gonna
ruin the city manager's plan.
yeah, they're gonna start writing intelligent articles for an alt newspaper. They're basically gonna ruin it,
Yeah. And they take the coquille-ness out of it.
Yeah, it's Mayberry.
Oh,
It's like Mayberry if Mayberry had any black visitors that got ran out of town by armed fat white guys. That's Mayberry Coquille.
We should just keep creating those rumors so your coquille idiots
Well,
keep
it's
doing
not
that
just a
every week.
rumor. When I went to the Antifa headquarters, they had my hometown. I looked in the window and they had Coquille, Oregon, and then they had like it looked like a battle plan. There was a field and they had, fucking generals and shit. And they are planning to overthrow Coquille. They've been sending a lot of
cavalry will come in.
I thought it was bullshit, but Gonzo set me straight and said, Coquille is they called it what's that fucking movie? I forget. Dawn Patrol. It's that is Dawn Patrol.
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Dawn Patrol was Night Ranger, and they were on that bill. They were on the bill with Joan Jett and Quiet Riot. It was Night Ranger.
By the way, Antifa also has plans to overthrow Night Ranger. So
yeah,
after
they're using,
Hurry up!
They're using Sister Christian to distract the white trash. And when they start rocking,
why do you think? Oh, your time has come. Even me. Why do you think that's in there?
It's a Nazi It's a Nazi anthem. I don't know about that, but if a fucking Night Ranger was, are they still a band? Because
Sure.
they should have.
Not.
They suck so bad. Not when I saw them, I thought they kicked ass.
They did kick ass. What do you mean they suck so bad?
Well, they put out that Seven Wishes CD, and I got that, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" I haven't heard Night Ranger with it, and it was like, it was like a fucking parody of a. It was like, is this a theater version of these fucking assholes? They ruined it. Maybe they put out other shit after that. Maybe they redeemed themselves.
I don't know that one.
They were fucking dead to me.
Yeah.
Seven Wishes.
So apparently you cannot still rock in America.
No.
Hey, gents, I got news for you. Night Rangers playing in Tampa, Florida at the Mid-Florida Credit Union Amphitheater on June 11th or July 11th.
So let's rally.
Tickets available, and they give you a COVID-19 alert. Yeah, the state.
Wow. So they're really doing it. I was gonna say I thought that it was Night Ranger is so shitty that they don't even bother to update their website when their shows get canceled.
It's July 11th of 1989.
They were here.
Yeah. It isn't current. Really? It's currently they're still together. No way. Wow.
No, dude. There's a lot of country fairs
show
every
in
year.
3 days.
Did they not talk? Did they not talk after that album? I mean, come on. It's like whoever wrote that.
Hold on.
Wait a minute.
I'm on Night Ranger's site, so now I'm gonna be flagged on some list. But Night Ranger, Coral Sky Amphitheater in West Palm, canceled. The 11th, Tampa, canceled. The 14th in Alpharetta, Georgia. Well, you know where this is going. Yeah, they're all canceled, and they're touring with Andy, Sammy Hagar.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, those guys do not care. That's what Hagar was saying. He doesn't care if people that come out to the show die or he dies. It's just he's got to rock it. He's got to put it out there, and by putting it out there, he means he's having Night Ranger eat a bullet for him. Fucking, it's like nobody shows up. It's Night Ranger's fault. It's not fucking Slammin' Sammy. Yeah, that guy. Anyway, I mean,
the danger with those bands is that the audience for those bands is the same people who are susceptible to the worst traits of COVID-19. It's the elderly and out of shape.
Yeah, I know it's like that. Sammy's in that. Like there's older musicians who reinvented themselves and then came out to a different generation, but these guys are still kind of burning it with the first generation.
Yeah, they're in the first
They've never
wave.
had to long first wave, and he's still getting by on that shit. He hasn't had to do a fucking.
I fucking loved Sammy Hagar, man. When he joined,
change things that are still working. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. When he joined Van Halen, it kind of went in the dumper, but I saw that tour and everyone was excited about it. But when Sammy Hagar was solo before Van Halen, he was fucking killer, man.
The Red Rocker, dude.
Three Lock Box.
That
was a fucking great album.
Yeah,
man.
he at that concert I saw him at, he climbed the scaffolding.
Yeah, he did that when he was in when I saw him with Van Halen too. Mm-hmm. He climbed up to the fucking catwalk on the top and sang from up there. Yeah. Our little 19-year-old.
That's how you do drugs. Man. That's how you do drugs. I saw Eddie Money do a concert and he could barely even fucking sing. He was coked up and sweaty and shit. It's like, do a little bit, climb the scaffolding, do too much. You can't even get to the fucking Money song,
Eddie's lucky he was able to climb the steps up to the stage from the fucking back room.
Yeah. I think I bet he probably rehabbed not long after that fucking tour.
He had a rough fucking go. He was paralyzed on half of his face already, right?
Yeah. Well, and then he was a cop at some point, so he was paralyzed in half his soul. But he got out, so good for him.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
He hit the Indian casino Globe where I grew up one time, and I skipped it. I didn't go.
I missed David Lee Roth, and I was at the fair that day. I just was like, yeah. I regret
was it free
it.
To go in?
I was already in, you know, and I was like, it's just like the people who had amassed to see David Lee Roth, and I was on the free seats. I didn't go VIP, and quite honestly, they look like bigger losers than the ones hanging out. You know, they got into the fair for 3 cans of food, and you know, their fucking family all fucking sunbeat, and fucking, you know, that's what the fun part with those concerts is. They were late in the evening, and then the parents would hit the beer garden, and their fucking kids with all day ride pass would swap from carny to carny, and then eventually they would find their parents all fucked up like David Lee Roth. It's like fun for people watching and shit. I enjoyed a lot of those concerts just for that, but I don't know why I didn't feel like David Lee Roth. It's just maybe I was having a bad day.
Hey, I saw him, dude. He was fucking great.
I love him too, man.
I wanted to say, I kind of feel like you know, it's like
I always
have another chance or something.
I was in the VIP section because I was actually working at Bumbershoot, and I maintain. I mean, I went just to see what there is to see. I went to see the elephant, right? And honestly, I came up with a thing. I would much rather watch David Lee Roth with 3 accomplished young kids playing perfectly behind him than, I've said it before, Gary Cherone in front of fucking Van Halen. Even Hagar, they had a separate band.
Right.
That Hagar was not Van Halen. Van Halen was David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen. But honestly, David Lee Roth fucking killed it, man.
Yeah. I mean, he still does that kick,
I don't know if I
right?
can say the same. What's that?
Mean, you know, the guy still he throws kicks in those, you know. So
I'll
how many pairs of pants did that guy rip? Yeah. I think he was in his fat. He had a bit of a fat stage, and that's when he was at the
fat and bald.
Mm-hmm. I did hear a little bit of the warm up, but you can't really judge that on anything. But I was like, whoa, it's like, and then he come out and he did just like maybe 30 seconds. So I did see him. I'm like, fuck, there's David Lee Roth, and it's like, is he wearing a wig or? And you know, nobody wants to be at the fair at all. You know,
I always like the David Lee Roth Van Halen better than the Sammy Hagar Van Halen.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's only because I only had the one cassette tape, so I didn't really know. You know, you get attached to stuff. You know.
I had the Van Halen logo on my bedroom wall in the basement of the house. Because I'm the oldest. I have a younger sister, so and the bedrooms are all upstairs. I lived in a ranch house, but when I got to be cool in high school, my parents let me move down into the basement, so that became my room.
Oh, Greg,
and then
Greg Brady room.
Yeah,
totally.
Greg Brady.
Absolutely. And then I
promised it to your sister at the same time.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But so I wanted to do the Aerosmith logo on the wall, but I decided it was way too hard. So I did the Van Halen logo, which was basically just very simple black letters and a little bit of art perspective, and you know, it was done. But it was up there for fucking 25 years. You know, even after my parents are like changing it back into like a livable space for people. Like, here's still the Van Halen logo on the fucking wall.
Honey, we're thinking about putting the house on the market. We want to make sure it's okay.
Yeah.
if you paint over your.
Do you want to come in and take this with you? It's original Brett Erickson artwork. If you want to have it.
I was gonna say you never really grew up, but I got my freshly painted wagon behind me. I don't know if you can see it back there.
Oh, there, I see it up there.
I went with maroon. Fuck yeah, you know, a gloss maroon. I don't even ask anymore. Dude. Yeah, it's you know, I mean, who's this guy?
That sounds like one of the characters in Coquille. Yeah, you know, gloss maroon.
You know,
maroon.
Well,
I worked for gloss maroon for a summer up at the mill.
When I'd ride down, like, so our driveway, I always thought of our driveway it was like the same, looked like the entrance, not like looked like the entrance of the Bat Cave, but it was like the road ended and our house was on the dead end, and then the road was kind of half a road. So you get up close to the thing, and then I would always speed up the driveway like I was going into the Bat Cave. But as a kid, I would start, and it wasn't much of a hill. Our driveway wasn't much of a hill, but then it led to a hill it wasn't a real steep hill, but it took you through a 4-way stop. And I would get on my wagon as a kid, and I would go down the driveway and get the momentum, rock it a little bit, and then get down the hill, and then that'd take me right down into traffic. And I remember more than one person saying I was going to get ran over if I kept doing that. Oh, like,
yeah,
I still have the wagon, so it's like that prediction, that may not be dead yet. I just thought, like that guy made that prediction in the 70s. It's like it came true in 2020. I rode my wagon down in the traffic, and I ran into a bus, which I've told my daughter I want to be pushed in front of a bus if I'm not willing. I would hope I'd be more of a team player.
That would actually be a pretty interesting way to be pushed in front of a bus, to just be pushed in a wagon at the top of a hill that goes down the hill and then in front of a bus. It's still technically being pushed in front of a bus, but it's a lot more fun.
I live on meditated too.
I live on a very very steep hill.
Yeah, you got to know the bus schedule, because it's not going to be in view.
Oh, man.
I know, that's the problem. That's the problem.
We're
I'm more likely to run into
the street.
I'm more likely to get hit by a turkey. Yeah. There's no traffic up here, but I do have a steep hill. So, now I got to petition the city to get a bus route up here. My roommate can't see. Let's get a bus up here. And then, it's not looking good for 2020 with this hill in the wagon. But if
you might have to make some compromises. Can you maybe slam into the side of a parked RV and call it being pushed in front of a bus? I mean, it's a new age, Andy.
I could do some YouTube videos on explosives. I wouldn't want to do that without exploding. It feels like not a grand finale. It feels like, yeah, that was loud. Jesus, somebody must have, but if, like, I would like to do it like, like those expensive fireworks you get. And I didn't get any this year, because who gives a fuck? The world's going to end, and who wants a bunch of sparklers? But they'd have them big ground ones, and they would do, they'd go through like 5 or 6 different things. Yeah. That's how I want to blow up.
Different stages.
Yeah. I want to have it just like people are like, oh, I think that's it. And then boom.
And then after the big explosion, you're like, oh, that was so cool. That was definitely it. And then all of a sudden, like, sparklers out of your head, like.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know how to rig myself up. Not good with directions or things like that. So.
Yeah, well.
But I do got the crossbow in operation again. I do have got my crossbow going, and it's just like firing it into a target, and it's like, all right, yeah, I don't have to worry about things.
You got it.
At least I can put one dart in somebody, and then
might even be your own foot.
If I get him in, I leaned over it today to move something over on the bench, and I have it fully operational.
It's loaded.
Yeah, it's loaded.
You have it sitting on your bench loaded.
Yeah, but
he leaned over it.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is like the beginning of it.
Did you lean over it and it was pointing at your chest?
No, it was pointed at a marble run, and then that was pointed at a boot that kicked the thing. That goes down a Hot Wheel track.
Made a Rube Goldberg suicide Goldberg.
Yeah. That's what I always thought they should do with those. I mean, a while back when they were doing those beheading videos, it's like it's pretty cliche. It's like do a Rube Goldberg, and they kind of build an audience. It's like, I didn't even know it was a snuff film till that last marble. Then I saw that thing, the guillotine, and that was a real bummer.
That is funny, because there was that one floating around the internet a couple weeks ago of like, it was the basketball shot. It was like 70 different things or whatever. It was amazing. But if someone would have gotten their head chopped off at the very end of that, after you watched the whole thing all excited to see what happened, that would have been.
I think hate won. I think hate's won out. Every morning I watch at least 3 or 4 videos of people either humiliating themselves or being beaten, and then I ease into my day after that. But it's like, unless I see that every day, I just don't feel like I've woken up.
Right. It gets even worse and worse. They're trying to lynch a guy in Indiana. Did you see that video? What the fuck? Oh my God, it's brutal.
I did reach the point where I just quit looking because it was. I mean, it's one thing to know that sort of shit is out there all over, but to have to just keep like, I don't know. I'm gonna put my head back in the sand, man.
I have to jump ahead to the end. You know what I mean? Like I have to find out how it turns out before I decide if I want to invest in the time. Like the Indiana guy, this is a crazy thing. It's happening right now. He's a black guy, civil rights activist in Bloomington, Indiana, and he's out in the fucking hiking or some shit with his girlfriend, and they run into a whole bunch of fucking drunk ass rednecks who were gonna fucking lynch his ass. They had him pinned up against a tree. They were fucking holding him down on the ground, and then they call the cops and they don't do anything to the guys. So the guys all get away.
I didn't watch the video. I read half that article
crime.
and I didn't.
Scary,
it's so disgusting, man.
It's
it really
so
is.
Scary because it's these guys, these rednecks are so fucking drunk and they're out in the woods, and it's one of those situations where you just know like, oh, this is going to be bad, you know? Like these guys are in an area where they've been out here in the woods by themselves for a couple of hours now. They've got that sense of there's nobody around, you know.
Lawless.
Like, fuck. Yeah. If his girlfriend hadn't been there filming it, and there's got to be more to the story, but it was fucking disgusting. And to think that shit is still happening, it's mind blowing to me.
It's like you watch enough of it, and you get like Chad, where you just tune it out, but it's like it's horrifying to know what's going on. But it's horrifying to know that you can't even fucking face it anymore. It's like
right. And we're obviously the fucking people who are allowed to, kind of tune it out, look at it on our video, and start our day because it's not happening.
A real part of our life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking,
Well, it's I don't know if it were. I don't know. It's fucked up, man. The whole thing. There's no. I don't know. I hate it. Though. I hate the whole thing. I'm done.
Yeah. It's fucking. It'd be nice if COVID just attacked racist, and in 2 weeks we had every fucking angry redneck, fucking half-wit. It's like these fucking. There was a clip I watched. A guy who was at a town hall meeting, and he was trying to explain what he'd learned on QAnon or whatever, and explain it. And it's like, it's like when my brother Larry accepted Jesus, and he was talking about it, and he'd say, it fucking just blew my mind. I was like, I don't even think you're supposed to say it like that, Larry. But it's like you can't. You're
not
too
making
stupid.
your testimony more valid, Larry.
Right? Yeah, he was a born again Christian, and he would lace it with the fucking and no apologies whatsoever, and but I think he accepted Jesus, but I don't think it was mutual, and
he never got a call back.
Yeah, it was kind of like, thanks. We have your resume on file.
Yeah, Jesus was a lot like public middle school for Larry. It's like, we just don't want you here anymore.
No one's better off.
That's what I found. I didn't know that he struggled in grade school, and then they just really didn't want him in middle school. I guess he attended a little bit. So they did get to know him.
They just the school gave up on him. They just said, nah.
And my mom was a real enabler when it came to Larry, especially. So I think she just kind of caved, and Larry needed, and that's when he learned to be a professional thief.
That's not even Larry's fault. That's the fucking system's fault, man.
Yeah, he went to the Job Corps.
Give up on a kid.
I kind of think like the Job Corps or programs like that were more like, instead of having a kid push on through and learn the skills it takes to get through high school, they could go, why don't you learn to paint a house? And that's what Larry.
There's nothing wrong with vocational programs.
No, Larry learned how to do that.
That's what they need to do, actually.
Yeah, Larry was actually
kick a kid out of middle school just because he's a fucking asshole. I mean, you got to.
That happened to me when I got to junior high and I started acting violently. They called it a social promotion, where basically they just know that you didn't pass all your classes, and technically we should hold you back, but We don't really like the fucking violent way your attitude is trending, so let's get you on out of here.
You should be held back, but we like the teacher who teaches that class, and we want her to come back next year. So we're going to promote you to the next level. Congratulations.
Yeah.
It's easier to get students than good teachers.
You're not worth the effort.
I always got downgraded. Our report cards had, it was like a comment card at a comedy club, and then they allowed for a lot of elaboration. If the teacher really didn't like you, you had a lot of, letters. It wasn't
your
just,
comments filled.
Yeah, some of them, the ones I liked you could spell out fun, but the F was for my grade, and then citizenship was unsatisfactory. And effort needs improvement. It's like
if you actually add the I to that, that's funny. So maybe it was.
I put a K. I should have put a K on it. I didn't know about funk. But I was like, what's more fun than this report card is playing some funk. Fade out with
some
funk.
Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah. Yeah, but I should have been, if that was a real thing, citizenship, almost every class I had in middle school, my citizenship was unsatisfactory.
Yeah, we didn't have that.
I showed up, and if they would have asked me to pledge allegiance or talk about the country, I would have. I don't know how they could grant that I'm not a good citizen based on behaviors at school.
You mentioned Minority Report earlier. Maybe they had a way of seeing into the future. Like,
probably my IQ.
Rebel.
But Andy, weren't they right?
Well, I feel like I grew into being an unsatisfactory. Back in the day, I was a citizen.
Again, I'm gonna be Andy's lawyer here, and I'm gonna say, Your Honor, that Andy didn't become a terrible citizen. Andy was turned into a terrible citizen by that uncaring school system that reinforced to him that he was already a bad citizen even before he had done anything wrong. And that's the system that created that mindset in his mind. And Your Honor, my client deserves to be let go and to be a free man today.
That's why I took them girls' shorts from Gold Beach.
See, you should have just shut up. I'll let him talk. Your Honor, in this instance, citizenship implies somebody who adheres to what we would consider the social norms. At a young age, this young man did not conform to the social norms, despite his fucking inconveniences and things that had happened to him.
There you go. And you want to know some other people who didn't conform, Your Honor? You ever heard of Pablo Picasso? You ever heard of Albert Einstein?
Objection, Your Honor! This man is no Pablo Picasso!
You know who also wasn't a good citizen? Adolf Hitler.
Andy, shut up!
Yeah, if I can submit these grades that go all the way back to kindergarten, you can see here it spells funk on every line. Funk on every line.
The thing about getting F's, the teachers, they don't teach you this. But the thing about getting an F is that's one of the easier letters to change.
Yeah, you can make that an A.
Yeah. My parents really were shocked when we'd get to the end of the year, and it was like, they felt like they were kind of caught off guard. But I was pretty good. My dad's signature is real easy to mimic, and so I didn't like to bother him with it. He's like management, and you
don't want to bother him with F's.
No, and he was a teacher. He was a teacher at one point. He probably would have been upset about that, and I didn't want him to feel bad about himself. So I just kept those. Yeah, I really didn't get report cards.
O'Reilly, you stuffed them all together at once, and you just here, initial here, and here. And you just kind of flip it up, and he's got his cigar and
He's signing all the Andrus report cards at once. He's got to go through them. You just
Dad, if you could make that look like an A.
Back then, too, teachers would fail you because it didn't reflect poorly on them. You know, they didn't
Oh,
have to
sure.
fight, so they would just fucking. I'd get F's and D's. It's like, they did squeak me by just so I didn't come back to them or anything. But I didn't have a sense of urgency because I was taking a lot of downers. But I was there. I'd
And
show
Your
up.
Honor, the drug use, the rampant drug use.
Yeah.
They were over the
We have
counter.
an
They were
affidavit from his grandmother who's missing
then-
all this cough medicine.
And then the prosecution side in this fucking terrible offense to Andy Andrist would have said something like, and not only has he flunked all these classes, Your Honor, but that evil kid right there has been mentored by a kind veteran from Northern California, and yet he still flouts that mentorship every day by learning nothing. He gets the tracksuits, yes, but was that translate into being a better citizen? No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
I'm going out on a limb here, but I would like to remand this young boy to the man in California, as I think what he really needs is more time with this mentor.
More time. Right.
And
Exactly.
I grew up in an all where when I was there it was an all white town, and I showed up at some point wearing track sweatsuits like Run DMC. So I think maybe there was a little racism. They just didn't have a direction to point it. So I show up with a home perm and a matching sweatsuit and some, some bling bling.
They just weren't ready for the Andy Andrist sound, man.
Yeah. So
Andy, are you admitting on this podcast to being in black hair when you were younger?
I did it because I saw the greatest American hero had that hair. I was definitely not thinking I could get my hair. But when I stayed with the Pritchett family, the black family that I hung out with at church camp and stuff, I touched their hair and thought it was fucking amazing. It's like shit, But I never once thought I could do that by going to.
Were they asleep when you touched their hair or awake?
No. We were, it was.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was, I didn't go blackface. I didn't know, but I was just hung out with them guys, and I was accepted into the family there for the duration of church camp. And their old man was great. He was a Portland preacher, Northeast Portland preacher, and a TV preacher. And nobody in my family, and I'm guessing a lot of black people couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying. Like he talked, like I just watched that airplane movie. He spoke like, in the thing. You're like, I cannot understand what he said. Yeah, he did sermons, and you cannot understand what Mr. Pritchett was saying at all.
Sermon.
What it is. I go like, what it is. And I only stayed at their house a couple of days, but I got to eat grits and watch him beat his children.
And it is.
Yeah, I stayed in Northeast, and I know that. I mean, like he pulled up and he ran a drug dealer off a street corner, like back. It was like, wow. It's like I didn't know any of this was even. I not only I left church camp, I was hanging out with a bunch of white people, and then I got adopted into this black family for just like a 3 or 4 day weekend, and hung out there and saw them chase off drug dealers, and we ate grits. I was a finicky little fuck, but it didn't play there at all. Like, and I ate my grits, they fucking beat them kids too. Peter and Willis both received pretty good, what I consider epic beatings. Like if I saw that at my house, I would be waiting for the rape. Like, oh shit, this ain't good. But they just took the belt off, pulled their pants down, whipped them kids' ass.
They weren't getting beat because they couldn't understand the directions their dad was giving them for something.
I don't know
because they spoke jive.
I don't know what they did to get beat like that. I just hope that I didn't do it either with them. Oh shit, But he, it was like I learned a whole lot in a short time with that family. It was like, man, I can get away with, fucking, I'll sass my mother. Yeah, your rules don't apply to me. I'm gonna sass the shit out of her.
Oh my God.
I left there with my white man privilege card, and I sassed my mother, and I didn't respect my father neither. I sure as hell didn't worship the Lord. Yeah, they them churches, they get into the music. I don't know if anyone can understand that guy when he did his sermons, but when everybody sang, it was like, I remember that. It was like, fuck, because I hated church and everything, but that got me like I wanted to start high-fiving people at a like, it's the same congregation.
You're like one of the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, I went home and told my parents, yo, you got to get the Holy Spirit in you. Shut the fuck up.
And you need somebody playing bass. That's the problem with our white church. There's nobody playing bass the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like I could have left and been raised by that family and had a much better life. Yeah, I wouldn't have got molested, that's for sure.
You'd have gotten beatings, but you'd have turned out all right.
Yeah,
you'd have been a lot less fucking sassy, that's for sure.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be here right now.
No,
that's for sure.
No,
but I'd sure be proud of. I'd sure be proud of this country and upset about the direction it's headed.
You'd be selling insurance with Steve Zorn or whatever, Stan Zorn, Zorn and Andrus.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys grow up getting beat, or just me?
No.
I got beat all the time. I hit one time. I ran from a bully. Ski White's brother.
No, I mean by your own family.
Oh,
not by the general public.
That's a different sort of beating.
My dad, I think my dad lost his will to, he didn't want to race he lost the will to parent, so he beat the other kids. Or I think he hit him.
You knew to stay away after he was chair bound.
Yeah, you're in a chair. It's hard to beat your family because it's they got to get close enough to you.
You got some pretty dumb kids after one beating.
But it's also a training because Andy mentioned something before, and it made me think. One time my dad beat my ass, and he punched me, and I fell through a screen door and tripped out, and I took off running. And I ran down the road, and I knew he didn't have any shoes on, so I knew I could make it. My grandma only lived a couple miles down the road, so I was running. I made it about halfway down the road. That motherfucker comes in the middle of the road and goes, "Boy, get back here. I ain't through with you." I fucking stopped, dropped my head, fucking trudged back up there, and took the rest of my fucking ass beating because I knew it was
coming anyway. It was going
to be worse if I just split,
You're not going to be Julian Assange. You can't you can't live at your grandma's house for 7 years, like it's the fucking embassy of Ecuador, like you're going to have to come back out of there. So
and it was a fucked up situation. I remember the whole thing that took place because I was probably about 10 or 11, and my mom had dropped me off over to visit him. And as soon as she left, I was sitting there in the living room, and his old lady was just fucking running her mouth, talking shit about my mom. Oh, just one thing after another. And finally, I just told my dad, I said, "I'm gonna walk down to my grandma's house." And he's like, "For what?" And I said, and I was one of the boldest things ever. And I go, "Because I don't want to listen to her talk shit about my mom anymore." And that was when he's like, "Boy, you better get the fuck out of here." And I tried, and then he'd fucking beat the shit out of me.
Wow.
Confusing messages.
Yeah.
Confusing
it was like a bit of a mix.
Man. It was, well, he grew up even real fucked up, more fun, like in a way more violent. Like to him, the way he did it was nice. Compared to how it's just a generational thing. Then I have a brother, half brother, who's only, well, I don't know how old he is now, like 26 or 27 or so, but he's got like autism, and my dad had to completely change because none of the fucking techniques he knew how to be a parent would work on a kid like that. So he fucking really has come a long way in growing and learning about, how to treat people, and he's apologized to me before. I'm like, don't fucking apologize for that shit. You didn't fucking know.
Well, that's good.
Don't apologize. Just
dude.
take off running. Take off running.
No,
I'll give you a head start.
He's one of my favorite people in the world. He's a solid dude.
I'm seeing again. Now this is like those viral videos. I'm glad we got to the end and it turned out to be an okay story. I was getting sad there for a minute. My parents were sweet to me. They never touched me. They were good, supportive, loving parents. They still are.
I saw it fucked up. It was an interesting story, and it's not what I thought it was. It looked like a baseball movie, and it was called, I think, the Hero of Eddington Field, something like that. I might have the field name wrong. It's where Babe Ruth played his last exhibition game as a
Ebbets Field.
Ebbets Field, and there was a fucking crazy lady who drove onto the field. She was having a bipolar meltdown. Thought somehow Bambino was involved, and she tried to run over kids, and they're all scattering on the field and running for their lives and shit. And then she gets out of the stadium without hitting anybody, and an old dude runs to shut the gate to trap her in, and she hits that guy and kills him. And then the story is this guy's the hero, right? But when he was a young man, he fucking was involved in a hit and run that those two little girls were in the middle of the road, and one of them was holding the other one's hand. This little 3-year-old, 4-year-old girl got fucking annihilated in a hit and run. It was the old dude who stopped the fucking crime years later, so that other family gets to find out through. I fell asleep through part of it, so I missed how that connection was made. But he confessed to that crime. I think he confessed years earlier to that crime, and then when he got all the public attention, it brought that thing back to the surface, and that family found out, and all they wanted was closure and an apology from the person who killed their little girl, and the old grandpa never could do it. His fat grandson, who was on the baseball field when that mentally ill woman was trying to drive people over, he went to go talk to the lady. Like that's how it ended with the fat little boy that was on the field goes to apologize to a lady who was probably as old as his grandpa or a little younger. But because his grandpa couldn't make amends for it, so this kid did it, and I was fucking, I was like crying and shit at the end. I didn't even know why. It's like I missed the most important part with my nap. But I thought it was going to be a baseball thing that I could just go fucking. I'll fall asleep to this because who gives a shit about baseball? And then it was like immediately a mentally ill person trying to run over kids. I'm like, this is now you're into it. Yeah, I can't sleep now.
I thought I was going to watch golf, and it turned into a fucking demolition derby. God damn it.
Yeah, and Grandpa, he was a hero for a minute, but man, yeah. You can't, he's still a hero to some people. Yeah, karma. That's what the family of the little girl, they had no real forgiveness for Grandpa, but the grandkid felt real bad about Grandpa and considers him a hero, but he thought what Grandpa did and not apologize.
Wait, how is he a hero? Because what did he do just by shutting the gate?
He shut the gate.
But so that kept her in the Ebbets Field area.
Yeah, so she could
where she could continue to run over.
Yeah. I know. I feel like
not escape.
I feel like as soon as a head hits the pavement, it's not the time to declare somebody a hero. Let's give it a minute. Sometimes people get in the middle of something they shouldn't have. It doesn't make them a hero. Yeah. There was a stabbing on the metro train, and I don't know, but there was a guy who got stabbed, and they were calling him a hero because he got in the middle of it. He could have been going, I don't want any part of this, and getting out of the way, and it was too late or whatever. So but no, he's a hero, and you can't even suggest that he might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time more than,
Oh, shit. All right. That's a fucking solid hour of
quality
podcasting entertainment.
I had a good time right there. That was good.
Yeah, I feel better about myself. So if you're out there, and of course you are, because otherwise you wouldn't be hearing me say this and watching me say it to you. Subscribe to Chad's Twitch channel. Normally he would be doing that right after we do this. So he would be really, already drunk when he does his Twitch stream. Now, today he had to start on Twitch, so he started there, and he was already drunk when he got here. It's a whole thing.
So you sobered up a little bit on this one. Yeah. I feel like that on the streaming he gets drunker.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Well, I'm the one expected to talk on the stream. Here, I'm just expected to shut up most of the time.
I'm going to give you a satisfactory citizenship, Mark.
Sure.
That's beautiful. So sign up with your Amazon Prime membership. You already get one with that. And it's HD Fatty on Twitter. And there's right there on the pinned tweet is the link. Yeah, and send Andy some money and some and some fun things.
How about a letter? Send him a letter.
Send him a nice, be Andy's pen pal. There's his address right there, the P.O. box and the Venmo address. And if you like what we're doing here, then you can join us on Patreon for just $5 a month. We do this, I don't know, it seems like every other day. But we're going to go there right now and finish this thing off, make a drink, hang out, smoke another joint, and we'll be over on Patreon. So subscribe to our Patreon. You can come join us do that. We'll see you next time. Later.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.